Should you pay for the woman when you go on a date? Yes, 100%. Of course you should. It's a no-brainer. I don't even know why I'm making this video really, but it seems that this stuff still needs to be said. And what we're going to talk about is that topic of paying and why you should, within reason. And there are caveats to this. And also we're going to talk about the much contested realm of sugar dating and whether that's something that you should countenance or not, particularly if you are a somewhat older gentleman. Okay, so let's get into it. Should you pay when you go on a date? Yes, absolutely, of course you should. There's a bit of a hangover from the early days of dating advice. I say the early days, I mean obviously dating advice is 2,000 years old at least, because Ovid wrote a book on it, but I'm talking about the sort of modern incarnation of this stuff. We're going back to about the early 2000s, and one of the dictums that was propagated at that time, and quite strongly propagated, was that you should not pay for anything when you interact with a woman, and when you're going to, well, maybe less the date, but you know, certainly in the first meeting, if you meet in a bar, you know, you shouldn't buy her a drink. And this became a big topic of conversation. It became a big topic of sort of debate, I suppose, online. And the reasoning that they had, the early propagators of this idea had, were very sound actually, because if you think about the classic way that a guy would normally go and chat up a woman in a bar, the classic thing, the age-old thing that people would do, that guys would do, would be to go up to the girl and basically say, "Hey, can I buy you a drink?" You know, and that was it, that was the line. And that is, of course, a bad thing to do. Why is it a bad thing to do? Well, it's a bad thing to do because you're essentially trying to buy her time. What are you saying to her? You're saying to her, the first bit of value that you offer to her is, I am going to buy you an alcoholic beverage. I'm going to pay money for you to drink an alcoholic beverage in the hope that you will then suffer me to talk to you for a few minutes while you drink that drink. And of course, as we know, what would then often happen would be the guy buys her a drink and then she says, "Oh right, got to go and party with my friends now, bye," and she doesn't even talk to him anyway. Or if she does, she sort of stands around, but it's sort of on sufferance because he's just bought her a drink and he's essentially bribed her for her time. Now that is a very bad thing to do, because apart from anything else, what does it say about your intrinsic value? If you have to buy somebody a cheap, fizzy, alcoholic drink in order to make them stand and talk to you, then that indicates that your value must not be very high, or at least it indicates that your assessment of your own value is not very good. And what do women actually look for? Well, they look for guys who are high value and who are confident in their value, who have had positive feedback from the marketplace about their value, okay? And if you are that archetypal, confident, self-assured dude, right, who has many, many times before had people wanting to spend time with him without having to buy some random drink, then you're not going to be in that mind frame, are you? You're not going to be in that mindset that says, "Oh, I better buy her a drink because otherwise she's not going to want to talk to me." Okay, simple stuff, but you get the idea. So the early exponents of dating advice in the early 2000s were telling guys, never buy her a drink. Don't buy her a drink because it's supplicatory behavior, it puts you beneath her, it lowers your value, all of these things. And that thinking is very, very sound, okay? It's certainly very sound in an initial interaction in a bar or a nightclub, right? You don't really want to be the guy who's going around saying, "Hey, can I buy you a drink?" It's just kind of lame, and there's no need for it, really. You can start a conversation by walking up and putting out your hand and saying, "Hi, I'm Troy, nice to meet you." You know, you don't need to go in with the gambit of, "Can I buy you a drink?" because you are enough, which is very important, another dictum to remember. You are enough already, okay? You are a fully formed adult human being. Hopefully, if you're watching this, you should be. You're a fully formed adult human being. You have stuff going on in your life. You are high value. And therefore, you just walking up and saying hi, you're giving her the opportunity to meet you, which is a wonderful, wonderful gift that you're giving her, okay? No bribes of alcoholic drinks need to be brought into the equation whatsoever. However, and this is where it gets a little bit more knotty, I suppose, What if you are then talking to her for, half an hour, 40 minutes or something, which does happen sometimes in a bar situation, club situation, you guys really get on and the vibe's good and you're sitting there chatting and stuff, and then the glasses are empty and it's about time to get another drink. And she's sort of looking around and maybe thinking, oh, I wouldn't mind the next drink. What do you do then? Well, in my view, you say, would you like another drink? And you go and buy the drinks. And the same thing certainly goes on a date, all right? Because if you invite the girl out, you invite the woman out to come and meet you in a third space, that is a space that's not your home, not her home, and not your work, a third space, a bar, a restaurant, a cafe, you've invited her to come and spend time with you, it should be a no-brainer that you buy the drinks, okay? And culturally, this really comes into play, particularly when you're dealing with women from maybe Eastern Europe or from the former Soviet Union or from South America as well, and to a large degree in the West, to be honest. But certainly in those other places I mentioned, the onus and the tradition is always very much that the guy just takes care of the drinks. Now, you would sometimes get dudes online railing against that, like, oh my God, I turned up at the date and she expected me to buy the drinks, and I was like, no, I'm going to hold out, I'm going to hold frame because this Ukrainian girl has asked me to buy a drink. I mean, this is where the logic of high value-ness starts to break down, okay? Because that dude is probably doing that because he thinks, okay, so I'm going to show her that actually, why should I have to pay for everything? She's an equal partner in this date. She should also pay for something, and I'm not going to back down on my frame that this should be an equal, divide of resources. But you see, in doing that, he's trying to remain high value, but all he's doing is absolutely torpedoing his value in the eyes of that woman, because she's sitting there thinking, well, what's up with this guy? Can he not afford to buy, he can't afford to buy me a vodka and soda? I mean, what's the deal with this dude? Is he poor? Has he ruined his life? Has he got nothing going on? So like it or not, it doesn't matter what the other dudes on your losers internet forum or the comments thread underneath a YouTube video are saying to you about retaining value by holding frame on not buying a drink. In her mind, and this is all that's important, it doesn't matter about other guys on the internet, it's in her mind. She's the one you've got to convince, right? She's thinking this dude is low value. Because what high value guy doesn't buy somebody a bloody drink? I mean, small example, I met up with the Tates it was about October, I think, last year. We were over in Kyiv in Ukraine before the current conflict began, and we went to meet them in a hotel in the cigar lounge, and it was myself and Mr. M, and then we met up with the Tates and some other dudes there and stuff like that. And we sat down, we had a conversation, we had some banter, it was good fun and everything. And then at the end, the Tates were like, no, don't worry, we'll cover it, we'll cover the cigar, we'll cover the drinks, whatever. Because it doesn't matter, right? Because to them, what is paying for a drink? What does it signify? Nothing, right? What does buying a cigar, even an expensive cigar, signify to them? Nothing. I mean, they're not going to quibble over that. And we are guys, we are associates or friends of theirs, right? With a girl, it should be absolutely a no-brainer that a high-value man is just going to cover the bill, because, like it or not, money comes into the equation here. Okay, now it's not about being one of the Tates. It's not about being a multi-millionaire and having a bunch of Lambos and stuff necessarily. But if you are a schlub and you can't even undertake normal social activities like having a drink with somebody, then it's not really saying anything particularly impressive about you as a guy or as a prospect, even as a sexual prospect, all right? Now, of course, as we will sometimes say, there's always counterexamples to these things. There's always the example of the guy who has no money and sleeps on someone's mattress, and he's a complete loser, and maybe he sells a bit of weed, but he's really got nothing else going on, and he attracts lots of very beautiful women, and he has this fantastic sex life into the bargain. That kind of thing, sure, it happens, but generally speaking, those guys have something else going on. They're either very good looking, or they are very dark triad in some way, or they have some other value that marks them out from the pack. For the most part, in general, you know, you've got to show that you're a normal dude, right? You've got to show that you are somebody who, you know, you're living a cool lifestyle, you're traveling around, you've got a bit of money, and you're not stingy. You're not going to be like quibbling and arguing over who's going to pay for a bloody drink. It's pathetic. And anyway, the truth of the matter is that the dates that you go on shouldn't really last for more than a couple of drinks anyway. An average, you know, meeting for me, an average date that I would go on would be probably 2 drinks maximum, right? 2 drinks max. So if you can't afford to buy 2 drinks for a woman who's actually made the time to come out and put aside her evening to spend time with you, then really you deserve to get left at the sidelines, to be honest. And this leads me into another topic, and we may actually do a longer video on this, but what about sugar dating, okay? What about sugar dating? Should guys get involved with sugar dating? Should they not? And I think actually this is something I'll do a second video on, so I'm going to leave it here for now. But let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree. Let me know if you think I'm just talking complete nonsense. I think it makes sense. I think that, you know, we're not talking about buying somebody an iPad. We're not talking about buying them a MacBook Air. We're not talking about buying them a, you know, Chanel handbag. We're talking about buying a bloody drink, okay? It should be a no-brainer, in my view, and this whole subject matter really should be put to bed. But let me know what you think. Maybe you think I'm an idiot. Write in the comments below. Give me a like. Give me a dislike if you want. It all helps the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel. And also, if you would like some help with your situation, your dating situation, or you just want to chat, link below, get on a free call with me, and we will discuss for about half an hour your situation and how I can potentially help you. Signing out from London. See you soon. Bye-bye.